Hi there, my name is Kronenberg and welcome to my channel. This is a film review of The Blob. It's a horror. It came out in 1988. It's an 18, an hour and 35 minutes. IMDb is a 6.7 out of 10. So the IMDb synopsis, because I actually watched it all on YouTube, so I'll put the link obviously in the videos. A deadly entity from space crash lands near a small town and begins consuming everyone in its path. Panic ensues as a shady government scientist tries to contain the horrific creature. So the director is Chuck Russell, who directed The Mask. Producers, well, there's four, so I picked the main two. We have Jack H. Harris, who produced the original Blob from 1958. Elliot Kastner, Kastner, who produced Angel Heart. Music was by Michael Hoenig, Hoenig, who did Dracula 3000. The cast, so the main ones, we have Kevin Dillon, who was Brian Flagg, who was in Platoon. Shawnee Smith, who was Meg Penny, was in Saw 2. And Jeffrey DeMunn, Demunn, who was Sheriff Herb Geller, who was in The Hitcher. It was filmed in Abbeville, Louisiana, USA, and Vermilion Catholic High School in Louisiana. And it's also known as Blob and Plasma, which is the Polish one, believe it or not. Now, I've seen the original one. I've actually done the review of that one, so if you want to watch that one, I'll pop that on the end of here so you can have a look at that. Usually at the start, it's quite nice. You know, you get to see the service at the town. It literally looks completely deserted. It looks like there's nobody there. So it's kind of one of those places, you know. But then you realise where they all are. They're at a football. There's like a football stadium thing. So all the kids are there. All the people are there. So that's kind of cool. So the bad boy, who's Kevin Dillon, obviously, he's not the same as Steve. So the first one is Steve McQueen. It's the original bad boy, but because it's the 58 it came out, so it's not going to be as good as this one in the same realm. So you've got to kind of move with the times. So Herb, who was our sheriff, obviously, is asking a waitress out. Her name, I think, do we see her name on here? No, I don't see her name. Oh no, it's Candy Clark, who is Fran. Because he's trying to ask her out in the old, well, you know, how about this sort of thing. But he hasn't taken his hat off. It's like, take your hat off. You're inside a building. You know, you're sitting down having your breakfast or whatever. Just take the damn hat off. You don't need it on. Is it glued? So in the original, obviously I'm doing comparisons. We have an old guy and a dog. And in this one we have an old guy and a dog. So that's kind of cool. So that's good. That's matching. There's a funny bit where there's these two lads from the football match in the pharmacy buying let's call it protection, and I love the interaction when the local priest turns up. It's just like yeah, hi, yeah, hi father. Yeah. So like I say, I keep comparing to the original because that's what I've seen, and it was quite cool to see that the old guy used a stick to prod and poke the meteor, just like the original, which is kind of cool. So I'm not American, so I don't know. I don't know if this is what it's like then or if it's like that now. But they're at the hospital, right, with the dude. But the nurse doesn't sort of obviously asks for insurance, the usual thing. You know, he might be dying, but they still say, "Do you have insurance?" It's like, well, if I don't, can you still treat him? I'm assuming they can. I don't know. And then she said, "Do you have Blue Cross?" So I don't know what Blue Cross is. I'm assuming it's some sort of medical insurance or something. I don't know. Well, I must admit the Blob and how it kills is more graphic than the original. Actually, a lot more graphic, which is understandable because, you know, there was no CGI back then or any kind of, you know, computer stuff. It was just as is. It had to be quite tame as well. Now it's quite funny because in the original, it's the male, which is Steve, that sees the Blob kill the first victim. but in this one it's the female. So that's kind of like a bit of a change, which is kind of cool. Finally, Herb took his hat off. I've been literally watching it all the way through the film and like, come on, take your hat off, take your hat off. And he did. It was like, yes. And then he put it back on again. He was still in the building at this point. He hadn't gone outside. No one else was wearing their hats, by the way. Maybe it just made him feel poor, you know, like a guy gets a sports car or something like that. Now, one thing I would never do, and that's just me, is pop my arm down a plug hole, no matter how wide it was. But this guy did. Just, got a bit of a blockage there. I've used the little, you know, the deblocker thingy. Right, I won't use anything like a knife or anything like that to prod and poke it, a long stick. You know, the stuff that most people just think, well, I've got a stick, I'll just shove a stick down there and give it a bit of a poke. No, he just shoves his hand down there. Needless to say, it didn't end well. But it did clear the blockage, so that was kind of cool. So, loads of guys have appeared in Biological Team. They're in full white hazmat suits. So the others from town are breathing the air, but not these dudes. Plus they have guns. It's like, do you need guns for something that you're breathing in? Maybe that's what they should have done in COVID. My God, all the people. Anyway, the cinema. So they're watching a horror movie, which is kind of like the original. That's if you see the trailer for the original, it seems to be focused on the cinema. That's usually the end. Same with here. And the entire audience screams at once, like ah! And I'm thinking, now I've been to quite a few horror films at cinemas, but none made everyone scream. But maybe it was like that in the 80s, you know, when everyone was kind of new to horror, because horror, the 70s and the 80s, it was kind of new, you know, you had Friday the 13th and Psychos and Exorcist, and I think that was 70s, and, you know, and Texas Chainsaw, and all these kind of things, whereas now everyone's so desensitized. It's like, oh yeah, a guy's got his head chopped off. Oh, just make myself a cup of tea. Oh, yeah, somebody's just been diced. Oh, where's them biscuits? It's just like, yeah. So, for anyone who watches films, if you watch horrors, you tend to want to watch these in the dark, you know, to get yourself immersed yourself. That's how I tend to watch these films. Usually late at night, in the dark, and I just close off any sort of light sources so I can just focus on the film. But don't worry, for some weird reason, the lights in the cinema have gone to strobe effects. I felt like I was having a seizure. It's like, where? I knew there was something kicking off, you know, but why did the lights go strobey? Aren't they fixed into the roof of the theatre? Apparently not. So at least Dylan can actually ride a bike, Kevin Dillon. It was good to see, because there's quite a few actors, as we so know when you watch these films, and they hop on a bike and it's like, close up, they're not on a bike. Further away, you can see it's definitely not them on a bike. There's one bit of realism which I kind of liked, when Meg picked up an assault rifle, so she tries to fire it. Wasn't fire, so she realises the safety catch is on, so unclicks it, and then just literally just fires all over the place. It just shoots through the air and through the earth and through the floor and through the, you know, because it just uses the recoil, because that's how people would be. But it's great special effects for the blob and how it kills. The acting was great, the music was, you know, worked well, and it really didn't care who it killed, which I think is good. The story was good, and it was very close to the original in parts. The end music is sort of rock music by a band called Alien, I think it is. I'll have to look that up. Brave New Love, apparently. Anyway, whatever. So the rating I'm going to give this film is a 7, because I thought it was really cool. I liked it. It was a good film. Good film. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed watching and listening to this film review of The Blob. Please subscribe to my channel. I've got plenty of other horrors. Like I say, I have got The Blob, the original, so you can look at the trailer for that and my review. It's a little bit different, but, you know, it's a bit more tamer. Understandable. But there we go. Okay, well, thank you for watching, and goodbye.